This is my review of the last He-Man series, which aired on Cartoon Network's Action Block Toonami from August 13th, 2002 to January 10th, 2004. It serves as an update to the original 80s He-Man, and a lot of people who were involved with the 80s He-Man were involved with this one, with the exception of Lou Scheimer. The show was developed for television by a guy named Michael Happerin, and the animation and the show was animated by a company called Mike Young's Production. Like I said before, I saw this for the first time in August 13th, 2002, and it was awesome. And I still consider He-Man to be one of the best and most underrated cartoons ever, because like I said before, like I said in my salute of He-Man, this series didn't last long. It showed up at the wrong time. It showed up in 2002 when anime was hugely popular. And once again, like I keep saying, unless you were a Star Wars, a Marvel cartoon, a DC cartoon, or a Transformers cartoon at that time, you weren't your cartoon really wasn't gonna last. Of course, for those of you who don't know, He-Man is about a young prince named Adam from a planet called Eternia, and he takes his sword. He takes his sword and says, "By the power of Grayskull," and transforms into a muscular warrior named He-Man. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the group of people you see behind him in the picture here, defend the secrets of Castle Grayskull, Eternia, and the sorceress who is located in Castle Grayskull from Skeletor, who you see right here on the package, right here, Skeletor and his evil forces. This show, like I said before, this show is awesome. The animation is superb. The character designs are awesome. The show is always entertaining. The show is funny, engaging. And just overall entertaining, which in my opinion are the most important. That's the number one important thing in my opinion when watching a cartoon or movie or anything, is that it's fun and entertaining. Then the show is very nostalgic. I get nostalgic every time I watch it. The writing is awesome. The writing in the last two shows was pretty good and decent, but the writing here is way better. This show got to explore origins of characters, characterizations, things from the toy line that can never be reached in the last two series. But this show got a chance to do all of that. The show starts off simplistic in the early seasons. In the first season, the writing is always good, but it starts off simplistic. But towards the end of season 2, towards the end of season 1, which was The Last Stand and the Council of Evil part 1 and 2, it starts getting more interesting when Evil Lyn, a minion of Skeletor, betrays Skeletor and releases the Snake People, some of the most violent villains and creatures and scariest creatures to ever appear in this series. That's when the show starts getting really interesting and really violent. Like I said before, the characters are awesome, relatable. The morals are still good. Like I said before, I used to hate it when cartoons have morals, because they were usually hypocritical, but here they were usually annoying and hypocritical, but here they're not. Like I said, the characters are awesome and funny. They're much like their 80s counterparts, only with more characterization, only for a lot of them, including the villains and supporting characters in the He-Man franchise like Stratos, Trapjaw, Triclops, and Beastman. There's more characterization. And what's his name? The only thing, like I said before, the action is good. He-Man and Skeletor are more lethal in this show, and the show is quite violent. In one episode, Skeletor and his men get turned to stone and shattered, and Skeletor gets eaten, and the main bad guy of season 2, the main villain, King Hiss, gets beheaded by a new character named Zodak, who was awesome. Zodak never made it in the original cartoon, neither did King Hiss, but they were featured here. And Zodak is also awesome because he's one of the only black characters to appear in this show. The only thing I don't like about this show was in season 2. I guess they did this to come up with more material for the Snake People. They kept showcasing a lot of filler episodes. The filler episodes were awesome and well written, but I kind of hated how they kept interrupting the real story, the real story, the real story for some what I saw as pointless filler. Like in one episode, Skeletor, they returned to the episode format of the first season and the original series, where Skeletor comes up with a plan to fight the masters of the universe and ends up failing. He in this specific episode he got a bunch of vicious dragons to fight the He-Man characters, and I just didn't really want to see that. I really wanted to see the Snake People, but it was a good episode. All the episodes were good. Like I said before, they developed the characters more. There was more characterization, and yeah, this show was awesome. Like I said before, it sucks that this show didn't last long. I would have loved to see season 3, which would have featured King Hiss and Hordak being resurrected, and He-Man and Skeletor, who were mostly fighting this whole series, joining together to stop them. I would have loved to have seen that, but like I said before, because He-Man wasn't an anime and it showed up at the time of anime, this show didn't last. I just hate that this show failed. This show has strong writing, awesome artwork, awesome animation, awesome character designs, awesome everything, but didn't last. It was just plagued by bad timing. But this show, like I said in my He-Man salute, was awesome. He-Man is the best. All right, Doug 8790 out. I may re-review this show later, or I may review the others. All right, Doug out.